What's up everyone, and welcome to another Rust electrical tutorial. I'm Austin, and today's video is the first in a new series of videos where I create sort of circuit kits, if you will, for generic base sizes or even specific bases. So if you have something you'd like to see wired up, big or small, let me know and I will add it into queue for a future video. But I thought I'd kick this off with a, starting small with the solo player, the little bass, because I think a lot of solo players, we don't really cover a lot for solo players. It's a lot of big battery stuff, big turret stuff, whatever. And so this is designed for a 2x1, a 2x2, something small, and the solo player who doesn't have a lot of resources or space. And so quick tour, I've got a couple of solar panels. I've got 2 car batteries here. One's running a turret, the other is running this crafting system. It's only using 5 active usage as it stands, so really cheap for what you can get out of it. The crafting system can craft 3 items as I've set it up. I've got an AK-556 and a med stick. Of course, you could craft whatever it is you want. Just pulls from this box here. You just hit the button. It's going to craft whatever one you have selected. It'll transfer its stuff, turn itself off, and then once it's done crafting, this box it'll transfer into this box here, and you're good to go. So of course you can craft whatever you want. Beyond that, I also have a couple of lights in here. This is good for, again, a 2x1, 2x2, and that's really it. So I mean, pretty compact, really cheap. And kind of a surprising amount of stuff you can do with just a couple of car batteries. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to build it. Very simple. Of course, it has 2 solar panels. You could do more solar panels. I just wanted to show you the minimum that you would need for something like this. So if you want extra juice, maybe more car batteries, whatever, you can expand from here. But in this build, 2 solar panels. Those solar panels are running to a root combiner here, and then its output is running to this branch switch. And now this branch switch is the power distribution for our 2 batteries. So we'll start with the turret battery. The turret battery is set up out of the branch the branch power, and that's by design because branches will prioritize the branch out over the power out. And so if you start to lose power, you'd rather lose power first over here on crafting stuff rather than defense stuff. So if you want to maintain this to the very bitter end, put this out of the branch out. You might not need 26 rust watts coming out of here. It depends. I kind of played with this. This whole system's been running since, for over 24 in real life hours, so it's running just fine. You might not quite need 26. You could play around with that. If you're on a server that has shortened night cycles, then you definitely won't need this much. But just remember that the active usage and the charging inefficiency of batteries, so just divide the active usage by 0.8 or multiply it by 1.25. However you want to do it, just make sure that you're sending 13 or more, but if it gets too low and all it's getting is 13, it'll slowly start to lose its capacity over time. So play with that so that this stays at 150 going forward. So that's pretty much it. As far as like hooking up the turret, obviously pretty obvious. You just have to run the power out of the battery straight to the turret because this requires 10 rust watts. This can only put out 10 rust watts, so you can't actually put a switch here because the switch will take too much power away. So in order to modify the turret, you got to unhook it. But if you're hooking this up in a small base, a 2x1 and 2x2, this will be really close anyway, and it won't matter. Okay, so the next piece here is this side of it. And so from basically what's happening here is whatever's left over. So 13 when you're getting all 40 coming out of this branch. 13 of it's running to this battery, which is plenty because I'm only using 5 active usage, so half the battery. So that's way more than you need to make sure this stays pegged out once the sun comes back up. That'll jump back up. That will jump back up to 150. And then so that's running straight to the power in. The battery here is just running to this branch here. I have this branch set to 4 because that's how I'm running these lights. So 1 switch and 2 lights, you need 4 rust watts, which you might notice doesn't add up, but that's just what it is. And so we have lights there. That's the main draw on the battery, and whatever's left over, we've got 5 coming out of here, and that's all we need actually. And the cool thing about conveyors, you'll probably notice, is that when they're off, they don't draw active usage, which is awesome. So you can pass through them all, daisy chain them all up, but they're not going to pull power off that unless they're on. So that's where we get this 5 here, is that we have 5 active usage. 4 of it is coming from this branch, and 1 of it's coming from this conveyor because you leave it on. And surprisingly, I discovered the industrial crafter doesn't appear to pull active usage, so that's a freebie. So from this power out here, you're going to run this just to the first conveyor, whichever one you want, and then pass it through to each other one. So electrical pass through goes to the next one, its electrical pass-through goes to the next one, and then its electrical pass-through, and this one I have running over to the final one, and then this electrical pass-through, the orange line here, that's running to the conveyor because conveyors don't have an electrical pass-through. So this is a terminal amount. So there's your 5th item. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is exactly the power we have available here is 5. So if you were to run them all at the same time, you don't actually need all 5 because you can only run one of these at a time. Beyond that, the rest of the wiring is very simple. For each one of these, it's the same. I have a button. It's, where is it? There it is. Its output is running to the turn on the conveyor, and then it's that same conveyor's filter pass, not filter fail, it's filter pass, is running to the turn off on the same conveyor. So each conveyor is set up the same way: button to power on, filter pass to turn off, and that's it. That's how it knows. So if I were to run this, it's going to transfer in what it needs for the AK. Top one's the AK, and it's going to bring it in, and as soon as it passes, it sends a filter pass signal because it passed stuff, and it'll turn itself off. And that way it's not constantly draining on this battery. The button has the same tick rate as the, obviously for the game, so it's a perfect amount. Exactly, the button power is exactly what you need to transfer stuff out of a conveyor before it doesn't need to be on anymore. And that's it. So you just replicate that 2 times. The piping is really obvious, I think. You just have the storage adapter and then pipe that to the splitter, and the splitter to each of these conveyors, bring them back in with a combiner, and then run it through the crafter there, and then back to just an output one conveyor. This one is set to nothing. It's just in its default configuration. Leave it on. Anytime it sees anything, it's going to put it in here, which for something this simple, this is all you need. These conveyors here are set to the same filter systems minus their craftable items. So this is what you need for an AK. Just set your maxes to what they require, and then say require all. So it'll only transfer exactly this into the destination, which the destination is the industrial crafter here. It'll only pull exactly those if they all exist in the source box. Same thing with the 556. I've just scaled it up so it makes more than 2 or 3 at a time. So just scale it up, whatever the recipe is, scale it up, multiply it by some number, and that's how many rounds it'll make times 3, because I think one recipe makes 3 rounds of 556. And then the same thing with the, this is enough to make 4 syringes. So I just, thought that was an arbitrary amount. So every time it crafts, it'll always craft 4 of them. And so that's it. I mean, like, the actual setup is really simple. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you a 2x2 that I installed this exact system on in its exact configuration. So we're going to jump over there and check that out. Okay, so over here I have built a 2x2. This is actually my favorite 2x2 that I make whenever I play solo players. There's our 2 solar panels. I've got my super chonky anti-grief. I do all this for a reason. If anyone's interested in how to build these things, let me know. I could make a quick base build on both the anti-grief and the 2x2 here, but this is a 2x2 with what I like to call grandma's attic. If you come inside here, it's got the bunker here set up to bunker off with. Inside it has the 2 lights like I showed you. There's our switch for those lights. This one also has an attic in it. I like to do this sort of setup. So if you want to know more about that, let me know. But other than that, it's a standard 2x2 with the standard loot room. Everything's exactly the same. We have a TC room over here. I built everything. You saw the 2 solar panels on the roof. Here's the switch for the lights. Like I said, I built everything into this TC room. Real simple. Woo. And so if you shut the door, you can choose which button you want. So if I want to craft an AK, I just push that button. You could move the buttons if you want. You could put them somewhere easier to get to so that you don't have to like shut the door, but it's going to bring those items in from this comps box, and it's going to put them through this industrial crafter. There it goes. It's crafting the AK. When it's done, it's going to dump that AK into this box. And I just put before I put all this in or whatever, before I put the door in, I jumped up. You can attach the storage adapters to the boxes wherever you want them. I put them on top, but however you want to do it, you could maybe do it a little easier down here. But that's it. I mean, the whole system works really well. If I shut this and I go into admin mode here, you can see that it's I just sort of stacked it all up right here, put everything in right there. This is exactly how we built it over there. The 2 batteries are sitting up on this shelf over here, and then I'm just using boxes that are already in there. So real simple. So yeah, if you guys are looking for something, if you're the solo player, this might be something that you could consider, having a single turret and some auto crafting or whatever it is you want to do beyond the turret. And that, folks, is just about all I've got. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them below. Otherwise, you can get me on my Discord. See you later.